morning, Quadcopter 101 here. Now I got another review for you of the JJRC H29G warship. Now I did a similar review for this, I believe a couple weeks ago, for a different vendor, and in that review, I really like this quadcopter. This, I think, or I feel, is one of the better FPV intro quadcopters. Not for beginners, but for intermediate flyers that want to enter into the world of FPV. This is a good first step into it, particularly because of the brightness of the screen that's provided with this quadcopter. You can actually see it indoors. Now, the last flight I did, I was doing long distance flying out in the desert, but for this particular flight, I wanted to try what I've done with the JJRC, and that's trying to do some slalom flying through these trees. I want to see if I have control with this little quadcopter to be able to do that, like I could do with the JJRC. So that's in effect what we're going to do here today. Let me go over the quadcopter real quick for those of you who didn't see my last video. Again, this has a 720p camera that you can record to directly, but the camera also has a 5.8 gigahertz FPV transmitter that transmits video to this receiver screen and controller. You can record onto a 720 or a compact micro SD card directly onto the card, that 720p video, but you can also simultaneously record the received video that you see on the screen here with another micro SD card that's in the slot in the side of the receiver. The buttons on this, let's go over them real quick because the directions are not very good. Pressing this button here starts video recording of the screen video. Pressing this button quickly takes a photo of the screen. Holding down this button for 3 seconds enters the menu for the screen, so you can adjust the brightness and contrast of the screen, say for daylight flying. Holding down the right button here selects the different settings of that menu. This is missing in the directions, but this button here, which would normally be your throttle trim button, selects the different rates, such as beginner, intermediate, and expert. This button here selects flips, and then you can tell the quadcopter which direction to flip by pushing the pitch roll stick. This button here, with a quick press, enters the quadcopter into headless mode, and a long press enters into one key return. This button here, with a quick press, takes a photograph, and if you hold it down for 2 seconds, it activates video recording directly onto the SD card. So this is not in the directions either. This one I had to find out through trial and error. If you want to record onto the SD card in HD, 720p HD, it's this button here. By holding it down for 2 seconds, that starts the camera. Holding it down for another 2 seconds, and that stops the camera. And one final thing before we start flying, this comes with a 550 milliamp hour battery to power this controller. LiPo battery. That battery is not very good for powering this controller for very long. I do recommend, if you are considering this quadcopter, get a bigger battery. I got a 1000 milliamp hour 3.7 volt battery. These are cheap. These are only about $4 on AliExpress and eBay. In fact, look there first. You'll find these very dirt cheap, but they're very good batteries. This one has both JST connector and micro lossy for different types of quadcopters. It's applicable to multiple quadcopters. But get these 1100 milliamp hour. This one was 1000 milliamp hour, and use these. These provide sufficient power, more than sufficient power for this transmitter, so that you can fly for a good long time, especially if you got multiple batteries for your quadcopter. And finally, let me mention that this has a 450 milliamp hour battery. It comes with it with micro lossy connector. This will use most micro quadcopter batteries with the white micro lossy connector. This will even hold a CMAX 5C batteries. I tried 650. It fits in this bay, but I do not recommend flying with 500 and 650. Those get to be a little bit too heavy for this quadcopter. Try to keep it down in the 350 to 450 milliamp hour range, and that's about the right size, right weight of battery for this quadcopter. So let's go for a flight of the JJRC-29G and see if I can actually fly slalom through these trees. Hope you enjoy this flight. Okay, I bound the quadcopter. We have picture. I don't know if you see that or not. Starting the video, both recording of the screen and also recording of the quadcopter video. And we're recording from the quadcopter, and I am going to be flying entirely FPV if I can. We'll see how well I can do this. I'm trying to slalom it, past us. Reduce the throttle so I don't. This is not easy, folks. You see people flying FPV, and it's not super easy. But I'm doing it. Okay, a little too high. Like I said, this is a good trainer. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is a good trainer for those of you that are intermediate pilots that want to try FPV. Now you think FPV is real simple, but it is not, especially throttle control. Throttle control is tough at flying FPV. Oh, okay, it should still be working, hopefully, but I'm going to continue doing this. Sorry about that, folks, but I'm still in the sunlight, by the way. One more time. How are you doing? Seem to be doing fine. Okay, back to FPV. As you can see, I got somewhat of a scratchy screen right now. Go into visual for a second here. I'm not sure why I lost video here. Oh, there we go. I got the video back. I'm back to FPV flying. See if I can make it to the other end of the field, and if not, let's see how far I can fly FPV. I'm going to walk in front of the camera just to prove that I am still flying FPV. Okay, I'm at the other end of the field, coming back. We're going to bring it back here, folks. But see, there I'm getting scratchy again. Depends on what the angle of the camera toward us. See if I can bring it back to us. There we are. Again, like I said, very good trainer for flying FPV. Okay, let's try the other features of this quadcopter. I'll bring it in for a landing here. Okay, headless mode and 1 key return. I'm stopping the video. The video has already stopped on me. Let's start that video one more time. I didn't, well, okay, which button is starting the video? That one there. Doesn't like that. Is it recording? Well, it says it's recording, but we'll find out. Okay, let's try headless mode and 1 key return. Entering into headless mode. So it thinks that's the headless mode bearing, pulling back on the stick and showing. Let's go to higher rate 2. Oh, it thinks that's the headless mode bearing. So, did we have a headless mode direction was pointed when I activated it? Let's find out. By the way, I'm going to take my hat back from my wife. Thank you, hon. And we are going to exit headless mode. Have we exited headless mode? I want to show the camera. The camera is recording. I know it's recording this time. How about the screen? Screen's recording also. But this is the camera on that. There's a big wind up there, by the way. But I want to show you what this camera looks like. Okay, coming back on. But again, this is not like the JJRC 509G. This does not have what do you call it, altitude hold. You have to control the altitude yourself, so again, this would be a good trainer for intermediate flyers. Oh, where's that headless mode button again? Let's press that headless mode button. Now it thinks headless mode's my direction. Coming out of headless mode. We're going to start right off from the get-go, from takeoff, with headless mode. Let me land it for a second. And we'll point it in that direction. We're still recording. Headless mode is activated. Thinks behind me is headless mode. Well, if that's the case, we'll fly that way. Okay, that's the headless mode bearing. Apparently I must have had that started when I started up the quadcopter, pointing in that direction. But again, I'm pointing forward, it goes forward. It doesn't matter what direction the quadcopter's pointed. See, I'm spinning the quadcopter, pulling back. Let's do a 1 key return. Going down there and pressing 1 key return by holding the button down for 2 seconds. And it's flying back toward us again. So the 1 key return does work. We'll go back out one more time to demonstrate that. We're still in headless mode. Going down the headless mode bearing, pressing 1 key return, and it's coming back to us. Not a very high rate, but it works. Let's try different rates. This is expert rate, by the way, coming out of headless mode, by the way. Got to do that first. Do we got control yet? No, we're still in headless mode. Quick press. Okay, now we're in normal flying mode. Let's demonstrate this thing doing funnels. This is high rate. Let's see what type of range we can get. We're going down at the end of, well, we're running out of power, so we're not going to get very much range. But this thing does have range of about 100 meters, folks. Video range, though, is about 60 meters, 60 to 70 meters, maybe 80. Depending on the angle of the quadcopter. So it has much better control range from the controller than FPV video range. I wanted to make that clear. So, you know, you saw me flying FPV there for a while. I did have dropouts on my screen as I flew out of FPV range. And again, I'm flying in a somewhat breezy day here, but this quadcopter easily fights the wind. So overall, you know, if you're looking for a beginner's, actually intermediate's FPV quadcopter, intermediate flyer, who wants to learn throttle control while flying FPV, I think this is the one for you, folks. Just remember, change that battery that's in here. It comes with a 500 milliampere hour. That's just not enough power for this thing to properly power this transmitter. You're going to need about 1,000 milliampere hour. And those are cheap. Those are easy to get. Hope you enjoyed this flight. This is Quadcopter 101, signing out.